Yes, The Traitors on the BBC. It's the final tonight. Now, there are no spoilers here, I should tell you, if you are watching on Catch Up and you've not seen it. Here is how the game works. 22 strangers are moved into a castle in the Scottish Highlands to complete a series of challenges and missions together as a team. The catch, however, is that amongst the loyal contestants hoping to win a cash prize of up to £120,000, 3 traitors are secretly lurking, sabotaging their efforts and picking off contestants one by one. In the ultimate game of detection, backstabbing and trust, the loyalists must root out the traitors amongst their ranks in order to win or risk losing everything. A big part of the game comes down to reading people. So can you spot a liar? Marcus Matthews from Shrewsbury has been a coach and trainer for over 25 years, working in the army, public and private sector, as well as the UK police as a serving officer, and has even applied to be on the Traitors, and is here with me in the studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you watch things like this with great fascination, I imagine?
Yeah, my wife hates it when we watch this. It's like Death in Paradise. She said within 10 minutes I find out who it is. So yeah.
So you just know straight away?
I don't think so. I think there's lots of things that you've got to take into account, but I'm really, really interested in human behaviour and the way we do things. And it all comes down to safety and connection.
How did you begin this journey? What was your first sort of way into this world?
Sounds like a bit of a downer, but actually I was in the police and my mental health went to a really, really bad place where I wanted to take my own life. And so coming out the other side of that, going into the mental health service, services that are around there, it didn't ask my question, which is why do I feel the way that I do? So I ended up getting myself fixed using the techniques that I use now. And then I got this big thing about changing mental health to mental fitness. And it's understanding how our mind and body work, and actually the root cause is emotion. And there's been a lot of emotions on Traitors, right?
Yeah, that's a really powerful story that you've just told. Do you find yourself reading people immediately? Like, we've just met, you've just come through the door, we shook hands. Are you straight away looking for signs of what? No, even now that we're talking, I'm like, I wonder what Marcus is thinking about the way I'm,
not really,
portraying myself.
But it's a good point, because I think, when you've ever walked into a room and all of a sudden you either feel this energy where you go, oh, there's something not right here, or we used to call it like the copper's nose, or, oh, this seems like a really great place to be. So, yeah, it comes down to energy. We're all energetic beings. We're all vibrating, kind of links into law of attraction and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's more than just what people say. And in my own work, I work with the subconscious mind. So a lot of the time I am looking at somebody might be telling me something, but is that true? And I was saying off air that when we go to school, we learn spellings, and spellings create words. So our words cast spells. So the language we use, our body language. So there's lots of different things, the energy that we're putting off. So it's not just one single thing.
Yeah. I'm really conscious of how I'm sitting. Because I'm always moving when I'm talking anyway, because I'm got too much energy. Has this kind of thing helped you in all that you've done in your career? Are you taking it with you the whole way through?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I put it down to this, that there's no right or wrong, good or bad. Everything's a lesson. So everything that happens, good or bad, is a point in which you can use it. So, we're in Shropshire. If you want to grow great crops, what are you going to put on the fields? You're going to put muck on the fields. So things that we might call failure or bad times can give you growth. But where we start to feel unsafe, which is what Traitors is amazing at, the way they set the castle up, the way Claudia comes in, is they create a very unstable environment. So our environment is key, both internal and external. So there's lots of things that they throw at the contestants, and then it's the ones that try and manipulate that, which is really, really interesting. It says a lot about society, I think.
How do you spot a liar? What are the basics, the building blocks, if you will, of how you're spotting that?
I think consistency of body language, tone of voice, And also that gut instinct, but that can go against you because we tend to connect with people like ourselves. So if you create an unsafe environment, which is what they do in there, then we will tend to be more tribal. So, oh, you're like me. So it's unconscious bias. So it can't be you. So again, this is where frustrations come up. And one of the things I'm really interested in is people like Diane, I think it was Jamie, I always go, I wonder if there's any traumas there. I wonder what's come up there. And I think Aubrey went out first. So Aubrey and Diane were really, really interesting for me. But you can see, because they were trying to root out who the traitor was, they could have gone a bit too far. So it's really interesting, the dynamics.
Yeah. Given all that you know, would that make you a good liar? Would you know how to be a good liar? Can you train someone to be a good liar?
Well, it's interesting because when I applied for Series 1, I actually got interviewed for it. And obviously they knew my background and all the rest of it. And I'm very faithful. I'm very authentic as a person. And I wanted to be a traitor just to see if I could do it. I never got the chance to do it. But that would have been great to just try it to see.
Would you have had a plan? Would you have had a technique for how to do that?
Interestingly, the person who I believe is going to win it, and the way I would have played it, is Harry. And it's interesting, he's ex-military. And I think the reason why he's doing so well is because I think he's playing the game authentically. I think that's the thing. He's being authentic. I think he would be a faithful, given the chance. But he knows what needs to be done. And in the military, sometimes you have to do things that don't feel right, but you follow the orders. So I think his military training is good. But again, he had his bit of a blip when the other guy went out. Can't remember his name now, the other military guy.
Yeah.
So something triggered that. So I thought that was really, really interesting.
The breakfast team wanted me to basically give you, almost in the style of Would I Lie to You, a couple of statements, and you can decide whether I'm lying or not. Can we do that?
And that's where my reputation goes down the hill.
So
it's fun, isn't it? Right?
They're two very short lines. And do I need to look at you when I'm reading this? Can I just read them off the page? Okay.
I'm just.
This is so bizarre. Okay, here are my two the facts about myself.
Okay,
let's go with that. Fact number 1: I was once rescued by the US Coast Guard after capsizing a canoe. And fact number 2: I once ended up in hospital in Spain after hitting my head on a pedalo. One of those is not true. What are you doing right now?
What's really interesting is when you said the first one.
Yeah.
You your eyes moved around and your body language was quite open. So what I'm trying to work out there is that seems as though that's something that may probably not have happened. The second one seems more obvious.
Yeah.
Your body language seemed to be a little bit more settled on the second one, but then because you're wondering whether
that's it, I'm trying
it's
hard.
really difficult because it's like a false scenario. So I would say number 1 was false, only because your body language seemed to open up a little bit too much. But it's very difficult just to say. So I'm going to go for number 1.
Get me on the Traitors. It was number 2.
Well done.
No, the thing is as well, and this is what I find interesting, that number 2 is almost true. I hit my head on a water slide, not a pedalo. So I only changed one element. So I imagine my body language is comfortable, what I'm saying, but it's only one tiny thing. Yeah. So that's why I almost did it that way to see, because even though it wasn't correct, I can see why.
Which is what the Traitors have done. So that's what Harry and other people have done really, really well. And Paul did that quite a lot as well, is that it can be just one change. And that's why it's really, really difficult to tell a lie. And we're looking at pattern behavior, so just one instance is quite difficult. And
I was trying to do all of that as if I was just I wasn't even thinking about it. I was trying to do them both in the same way. But can people overthink it on the Traitors? Can they go, right, I'm going to try here really hard to lie, and then that's when you get found out because you're trying too hard?
And I think that's where Paul got found out, because he was so determined to be a traitor and he was trying really, really hard, as opposed to somebody like Harry who's been just kind of chilled and he's just doing what he needs to do in that particular thing, so he's not overthinking. So that's one of the things where you can spot a lie normally is inconsistency in behaviour, and keeping a lie going is really, really difficult. But like you say, changing one word, you can start to tell yourself a better lie. Yeah. And that's what I do with my clients.
Yeah. Paul is going to be on with BBC Radio Shropshire's Claire Ashford a little later today. If people want to know more about you and all that you do,
Yeah.
How can they find out more?
There's a couple of ways. So I'm part of the Centre for Integral Health in Shrewsbury, and I'm all over social media. But makeyourlifecount.co.uk. Yeah, happy to speak to people.
It's very inspiring, given the story you've told and where you're at now. And it's really nice to meet you and to chat through everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time this morning. There we go. On BBC Radio Shropshire, that's Marcus Matthews from Shrewsbury. Don't forget, you can see the final episode of The Traitors tonight on BBC One.